144. This is 44 plus 100. Fabius Justus Kalpournios Piso. An example of its use is in Revelations. In Revelation 7:4, 144, 00 is spelled out with full words for each number, 100 ekaton, 44 tesserakonta, tessares 1000 or 1000 Chiliades or Chiliados. 180, C from Latin, P from Greek, the initials for Calpernius Piso, 200 using the Greek RP as a designation for the Latin P Fabius Piso, totaled 100 in Greek initial system and combined with C for Calpurnius from the Latin system, 100 equaled 200. 300 stood for T, which represented the cross ref. The General Epistle of Barnabas 316 like 38, T and P the cross, and Piso 318 the cross, and Pythagorean 666 300 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 318. Also, 300 is the cross, with 10 is J for Jesus Josephus, and 8 is P for Piso. 600 the X or chi of chi, she, Bao 666. 600 is the numerical value of the initial X, which is CH in English and stands for Christ. It is the first letter of the name Christ, in Greek, and therefore is an acrostic initial for Christ. 616 When the Church was deciding whether or not to continue to include Revelations into the Christian canon, because of 666, its checking number, and other allusions, they opted to try to change 666 to 616 in the manuscripts so as to throw off the checking system and yet still honor Christ Piso. 600 equals Christ, 16 equals Piso. C. Council of Nicaea in Bithynia, c. 325 CE. 666 When Julius Piso wrote Revelations and gave the number 666, he was pointing to his dad, who uses 666 once in his writings as Josephus. He put in a checking number that would be the total of the names Jesus and Christ. This is how he did it. He made the total of the entire last phrase of Revelation 13:18 add up to the checking number, which was 2368. The total of the checking number was from the Greek initial system, and so was the entire last phrase of Revelation 13:18, except for 666 because it was not only a part of the total, but also a separate number unto itself. 666 wasn't written out as it could have been written, in the form of words like 144,000, was 666. No, it was written in the form of 3 letters with numerical values. Those letters are chi, she, Bao. Chi stands for Christ, and has a numerical value of 600. The other part of 666 was she and Bao. This was 66 in small numbers. 66 was the total of the name Flavius Josephus, Josephos, in small numbers. What 666 is Christ Flavius Josephus or Christ Jesus was Flavius Josephus. Arrius Piso himself, writing as Josephus, uses the number 666 to denote himself when saying how gold was given to King Solomon. He says, 666 talents of gold. Gold, meaning Flavius ref. Josephus, aunt, of the Jews, chapter 7, verse 2. He was hinting at his descent from King Solomon through King David, as he does in Matthew 1:6, when he plays Jesus. 888 Jesus in Greek initial system, IHSOUS, this was part of the checking number for 666. Recently, 888 has been seen as part of an order number for a videotape of the Pope's visit to Los Angeles that was advertised on television. 1000 ch chi, for Christ in the old initial system Greek, which was in use even before Piso made his number system. 1000 was used in lieu of the actual name Christ so as to keep the meanings hidden, sacred, hallowed, in Revelations 2368. The checking number for 666, which by Pythagorean math principles adds up to 19. 2 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 equals 19. That's the name Piso in the Greek small number system. Why did they use code? They were forced to use code, as Abelard Reuchlin says. The Pisos, through imperial power, were using the new faith deliberately as their instrument of control of the masses. Writing of this openly would have brought Rome swift vengeance and the destruction of the Jewish people. Through the Gospels, epistles, and history, the Pisos and their relatives recreated the environment of the Roman Empire. They advised the masses to be humble and to respect authority, their own synthesized and ill-gotten authority. They advised servants, slaves, to be subject to their masters. Peter 1:2-18, no matter how they were treated. For their reward was waiting for them in heaven. Matthew 6:20. Later, when the family tried to omit Revelations from the canon, Eusebius Julius Constantius II, Constantine's son, tried to throw you off the trail by saying something similar to, "I guess Christians put a mention of Christ in Josephus." They were descendants of Piso, coming down the line through Marcus Aurelius. Julius Constantius II took the noms de plume of Eusebius because it was the masculine form of his second wife's name of Eusebia, Jesu, Bios. Revelations exposed. Revelations, which was written by Julius Piso, reveals the truth about Christianity. It was written specifically to be the ending to the Jesus story, and, finis coronat opus, the end crowns the work. Julius Calpurnius Piso, Arrius Piso's son, wrote Revelations in the year 137 CE. It took a little while to think out Revelations, after the few events that followed the final dispersion of the Jews, which took place in the year 135. Julius used these two names in the history of the time, Severus and Servianus, which were derivatives of the family name inherited from his mother Boionia, Servilia, Priscilla. The book of Revelations was written as the ending of the Jesus story, so it was the one great power that Julius had. Arrius Piso gave his sons authority over his Jesus story in this way. He gave Justus Piso the right to play Jesus in the fourth gospel, and he gave Julius the right to end the story because even early on, it was a concern of Julius's that this Jesus story not last forever. In writing the New Testament, the family used a play on words. In Revelations, Julius used a few of his own, mixed with a few of his favorites from previous books. He uses the Piso number 42, which was used earlier in Matthew 1:17. Julius alludes to the war that he had helped Hadrian to fight, that lasted over 3 years. This helps to date Revelations. Where Julius Piso says 42 months, he is saying 3.5 years. Revelation 11:2, they shall trample upon the holy city Jerusalem, 42 months, 3.5 years. And in Revelation 13:5, authority was given to the beast Ippos, Piso, to act 42 months. And just before that he says, who is able to make war with the beast? Julius means this two ways. First, he means that another beast Piso is able to make war with the beast Piso. He is saying that he is able to make war with the other Pisos, and that this is the way that he was doing it. Second, he means the battle itself, paying homage to the brave Jews that died trying to fight the Pisos. In a way, kind of apologizing to the Jews for causing the diaspora. Because of an obscure passage in Ezekiel 39:11-15 mentioning the valley of Hammon Gog, Julius is able to allude to his father again by using Gog in Revelations. Josephus Arrius Piso wrote the first version of the book that we know of as Esther, where the character, Haman, has a gallows built only to end up being hung upon it himself. That version was written around the year 95 CE. The Jews started calling Arrius Piso Haman, or Haman, saying that the temple was destroyed by Hamanan, son of Haman. Calling Arrius Piso Haman, they were saying that he worked only to hang himself in the end. Rabbi Akiva had rewritten the book of Esther for the Jews in 110 CE, and started the holiday feast of Purim as a way for future generations to remember the great war of the Pisos against the Jews. They would make triangular cakes and pastries mimicking the Trinity and triangular numbers used by the Pisos. While the Pisos had Christians make cakes called cross-top buns and mark them with a T for the cross. But Julius didn't stop there, by just associating Haman with Gog to identify his father. He uses Gog with Magog. Who is Magog? Justus Piso. Why? Because Justus also plays Jesus. Gog, and son of Gog. They are the same as Balaam and Balak. Balaam, being Arrius Piso, and Balak, being Justus Piso. That's why in Revelation 2:14, Julius says, Balaam, Nicholas, lamed vav i.e., Arrius Piso taught Balak to cast a snare. Father taught son. Here is the real reason why Santa Claus is Saint Nick. Father was Balaam, which is Hebrew for the Greek name, Nicholas. Arrius already was Nicholas, because he was Nicomachus, victor of the battle. In Revelation 2:15, Julius says that he hates the Nicolaitanes, the followers of Nicholas Balaam. Note. Also see the Jewish Gittin. In Revelation 12:14, Julius says, mountains that move. A living mountain would move. How about a person named Mountain? Mountanus, that's Arrius Piso's other name in history. In Revelation 3:12, he says, the New Jerusalem. That's the Jerusalem after the war, Jupiter Capitolinus. They called Jerusalem, J.C., after Jesus Christ Josephus Calpurnius. Revelation 9:7, locusts like horses with the faces of a man. Locusta is a family name, and horses, Ippos, Piso with the face of a man, is a hint at what is meant by beast. Beast was a horse, i.e., Ippos, which is Piso, rearranged. Julius made several ways to check the meaning of beast, in Revelations. Using the number system, he simply uses the Greek word for beast, exactly 60 times 60, being the total of the names, Calpurnios Piso. He uses the word, Ippos, horse, 16 times. That's P, for Piso. Looking back at Luke 10:34, and Acts 23:23-24, we find that beast does mean horse. And remember, Josephus was originally Josephos. Phonetically with the first O is a long O, Yosh, Ippos. And, of course, once we know all of this, and that horse, Ippos, is Piso, then we know that the mark of the beast, that Julius was referring to was, the cross. My haven't things turned around 180 degrees. Most of the family members knew Egyptian. Justus sneaks the Egyptian word, bayan, i.e., palm branch, into John 12:13, and Egyptian hieroglyphics were used until about the year 350 CE. The Egyptian hieroglyphic, T, literally meant, a mark. Of course, we know that the Pisos made, T, stand for the cross. The first line of Revelations. Revelation 1:1, the revelation of Jesus Christ. Yes, the revealing of Jesus. Little by little, Julius tells us that this book, Revelations, is the beginning of the end of Christianity. In Revelation 1:3, he says, the time is near. Yes, the time is near, because you are reading the book that brings that time near, Revelations. In Revelation 1:5, Julius calls Jesus, the first begotten of the dead. This is first-class wit. Naturally, you'd think that it should be the only begotten Son of God, but this says more. First, the superficial illusion is that Jesus was the first to be resurrected. But this was only in keeping with being able to say things with entirely different meanings without leaving the main storyline. It's alter, or double, meaning, being a confirmation of what had already been suspected. The first begotten, meaning, the eldest. Arrius was older than his sister, Fania, of the dead, meaning, of the dead father, Gaius Piso. In history, Thricipetus Gaius Piso and his wife Arria the Younger consider the welfare of their child. Yet, only one child of theirs is mentioned by name, a daughter which was not of much consequence than Fania. They were in fact, contemplating the fate of their male child, Arrius. Revelation 1:7, and they pierced him. Julius is speaking of Jesus being pierced by the sword while on the cross. Then, later in Revelation 13:14, he says about the beast, which has the wound of the sword and lived. Let's look at Revelation 1:7 one more time. Behold, he comes out of the clouds of confusion, and every eye shall see him, and they which pierced him, and all of the tribes of the earth shall wail on account because of him. Yes, now that the confusion is lifted, every eye shall see him. He is Arrius Josephus Piso. And they which pierced him, are those who broke through the code, to find out who he was. All of the tribes, the 12 tribes of the new Israel which Arrius Piso created, i.e., those in rule by the false authority derived from a synthesized code as set forth by the Piso family and their descendants in the form of rhetoric, dogma, and ideologies. And, shall wail on account of him. Not for him. Him, of course meaning, Jesus, Arrius Piso. It would seem that there has been enough wailing on account of him. Julius keeps giving hints in Revelations. In Revelation 18:16, he says, precious, to use the word name, Timaeus, of Timothy. To honor him that is of Timothy, Julianus, that is Marcus Aurelius, born 121 CE. Perhaps another reason why 666 was chosen was because Arrius Piso's ancestor Lucius Cornelius Sulla Epaphroditus took control of Athens in the Old Roman year 666, which was the year 85 BCE by our present calendar, the Julian calendar, established by Arrius Piso's great-grandfather, Julius Caesar, in 46 BCE. If so, this could be a further hint that it was Arrius Piso himself who was the Epaphroditus who killed Nero. Arrius Piso would have inherited the name, Epaphroditus. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and I will see again for the next video.